10 things that I like in Studio One. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys? L up on set from ksound.com. 10 things that I like. All right, that I like in Studio One. There's a lot in Studio One that I love about it. Studio One made things really easy, really simple. Things that I could do has the same feeling, but I want to point out just 10. All right, so the first one is thumbnails. Thumbnails made life for me a whole lot easier, a whole lot smoother. So to see the thumbnails from your instruments or your effects, life is just great. So if you don't have thumbnails for some of them, like your third-party stuff, you can just go in and drag it over into a track, and more than likely it'll be made available to you. As soon as you click here and go to update, plug in thumbnails, right? And we should see it. Boom, thumbnail. Number 2, the color scheme. When 4.0 came out, there was more customization in terms of the colors. So I get this question a whole lot. So if I could show you guys that right quick, it's basically going to your preference area, and then you have to hit appearance. Basically, it's going to be a luminous thing in the background to get it to look like it's Ableton Live feel. And this was the old way. This was Studio One 3, and this is Studio One 4. You say, why you say colors? I mean, colors is everything, you know what I mean? If I have some nice colors, you know, it's a motivation thing. It's a preference thing, you know. The third thing, project page. Project page is definitely important to me because I can go and do several tracks and go over to a page that is set up for mixing specifically. And so I could come in here and drag and drop any file that I want to, but I also have the option to send a track from a session. You know, after you get done mixing the project you're working on, you can send it straight here. Say for instance you mix something the way you like and you want to send it over, you can update the mastering file that you currently have, or you can I can add this. This is a new add, so I'm gonna send it over something I already have on the other end as my project, and it's going to take me here, and what it's going to do is it's going to bounce in place like before, like anything else. But the cool thing is once it's done bouncing in place, it's already automatically added to the project page. And if you need to go back to the mix for any reason and make any changes, say the vocals was too high, you want to turn it down, say you need to add reverb or something like that to a track, and whatever changes you make, it will be a little icon down here at the bottom, or even in the track when you click on the track itself. There's like this little button down here, or this little, you know, say I need to make a change to this, right? So if I go back to this track and say I make a change to the guitar, right? And I need to save it. And then if I come back over to project page, it's going to notify me. It's going to be a little red button saying that, hey, you know, you need to go ahead and update this track. And so then from here, you can go ahead and update the mastering file, you know. So that's another thing I love about this. And then the other cool things you can do is obviously you can add more metadata tagging information in here, your picture, the album art, that type of thing in here, and you can get really detailed. It's like everything you need in order to, you could just send this track straight to the digital distribution house straight from here, and you don't need to go anywhere else. The fourth thing I want to touch on is the speed of the overall system. I like how fast Studio One is versus other programs I tried. I'm not going to name any of them, but I like the overall speed. So if you have a platform that is fast, you know what I mean, you still need to upgrade your computer to whatever, maximize the memory, SSD drive, all that type of thing, but I like the speed of Studio One. Fifth thing I like to touch on is CTC One. It's pretty much a plugin by Personas that they came up with. It's pretty much the vintage imitation of the real deal. Say you're familiar with the SSL board, or maybe you're not, or a Neve board, or some sort, right? Analog gear is in the digital world with CTC One. So basically here at the end of the track, what I try to do is put a CTC One on every song that I work on, and I can go from classic to tube. I like the custom better, and you could do things like drive it more, and you can add more noise and put a noise, turn on the noise gate or whatever. Say you want that noise in your track, like the analog board will give you that noise, that grit. And you also want to put noise gate because you know there was a time where those people that worked on boards like that, some of those mix engineers were sometimes fighting to get rid of the noise, right? And I think that's the reason why the digital has a place in this world, because it's more cleaner. But say you want that sound, you know, that the analog stuff is still banging, but you have the noise gate right here to turn it off when there's no sound. So it's like the best of both worlds. You have the mixture of digital and analog right here. It was real cool. And then you can crosstalk. I love this on drums. Well, actually the whole track, as a matter of fact, because that's what boards do. This is kind of what drums do, because mics are next to each other on the kit, right? And everything is being picked up, so it's kind of cool. Then you got the character, give your track a little bit more character. It always come out super nice when I use this thing. And then you can switch from channel to bus, so you can make this thing only work with the different buses if you have any in your track, or it can come out per channel. And that's the technology that this has, where it affects each channel without you putting the plug-in on each channel. The sixth thing that I like about Studio One is they came out with arranging. I probably got the term wrong. Just grab any wave, right? And what we're gonna do here is just simply cut them up, you know, like so. Cut them in whatever, right? And the thing that I want to do is actually change the color of them so we can follow the color, so we can, you know, it's kind of a better example showing you guys so that you can see the power behind it, you know what I'm saying? All right, so we got several colors going, right? So if we activate this here, this ripple edit, then I can do things like this. Okay, say I need to move this green right here where the yellow is. It just took, you know, it pushed the yellow back and put the green there. Say I need to put this pink like right where this blue is. Boom. So I put it there, and that blue stayed in the same position. This is great for like voiceover, or like, you know, doing quick edits and things like that. Say I need to put this right here. Like, that's pretty cool, right? Because before, what we had to do was go here and create, you know, these blocks, and you know that just takes time. But you know, and then you got to go in and label it so you won't get lost, that type of thing. So if you need to like do stuff like this, I mean, that's cool. Like, I still do that sometimes. But if you don't have the, you know, if you don't want to go that route, you don't have to go that route. You can just do, you know, you can now work with the actual audio. And this was something I was able to do in Logic, so now we can do that here inside of Studio One, which is really cool. I like that. The seventh thing I want to touch on is universal control integration. This is something I thought was pretty cool inside of Studio One here. To have that integration is pretty much like your DSP chip technology. So that means while I'm talking on this mic now, that's why you guys see me talk on this mic. I just like the way it sounds, and it's going through my Studio 192 mobile here, and it has that technology whereas I can pull up the actual mixer here, and I'm gonna show you guys that. So I can pull up this mixer, and then I can say I want my mic to be pre or post send, right? Let me go. Okay, let's go all the way down to my mic. So this is my mic right here, right? So then I have the option of saying, okay, I want to pre-send or post-send, because I have the option to send gate information, compression, EQ, and a limiter here. You know what I mean? I can set up all of this right before it comes in. And the cool thing about this is when I am doing vocals, or say like I got a group vocal or whatever, you know, solo singer, or however, recording drums, bass, whatever, right? Recording audio is essentially what I'm saying. I can record with these plugins activated even before it hits Studio One, and then have the option to recall those settings. Say I didn't like how the EQ sound because I got more things coming in. You know, I need to re-EQ. I would rather have the raw, you know what I'm saying, go back to it coming in raw. I can do that with Studio One, or you can record it where it bypasses that. But to have that option, I was blown away when they came out with this type of technology. And also you have reverbs in here. You just go to effects, and then you can go ahead and like go through the different presets that they have, which is really cool. And this thing also has, and I'm just talking about the 192 and specifically, it has nothing to do with Studio One, but it's cool that this thing talks to the rack thing, this thing, you know, because this thing is also made to handle several sets of speakers. So you get your A, B, and C, and all of this is in conjunction with Studio One. So like, that's pretty dope. The 8th thing I want to hit on, we almost there. It's rendering plugin effects to a region. Again, I may have that term all screwed up, but essentially that's what it's doing. So I got some snaps here, right? Let's say I want to put a compressor on one of these snaps. You just hit Alt or Option, right? And I can put it down here on this one snap, right? And then I can do whatever I need to, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Say I like the way that sounds. Okay, cool. So come off to the side and hit render. And basically it renders just that one region that I put that effect on. And basically what it did was, it's like it's frozen in the background and it doesn't take any CPU resources, right? And it say I want to change it. Say I didn't really like that. I need to, you know, back off the compressor just a little bit. I can always come back and hit restore, and it comes back, and I can go back and do whatever I need to do next, right? The 9th thing, we almost there, guys. We almost there. The 9th thing I like is song page tabs. Again, I butchered that name, but that's what it is to me. So baby, go up here to songs. I have this drop down arrow, and I can switch between different songs like that simultaneously, and it's usually pretty quick for me. Now I can just switch back to a song, no problem, and say I need to switch to this new song. Boom, no problem. That window came up because of the different rate. The sample rate is different on each song, but anyway, that's cool to be able to go back and forth like that, and it's like really quick. I like that. The 10th and final thing, guys, is multi-channels for Kontakt. And I love this feature because I do not have to. So okay, any of you Logic heads out there, you know, if you working in Logic, if you love Kontakt, what we had to do was we had to have our minds made up as to how many multi-channels we want, you know, to work with, right? And then you had to also be specific about which one. Do you want to work with the stereo Kontakt, or do you want to work with the 16, or you want the 8s? You know what I mean? 8 stereos and then 8 monos, or you know what I'm saying? It was like, or 16. It was just a lot to choose from, and you have to have a good idea as to how you was gonna build your song, right? Say you start off with 2 channels or something like that. You start off with the 8, right? I think that's one of the options. And say you have 8 tracks, 8 instruments in Kontakt, and say for whatever reason you need the 9th or 10th or 11th track that you want to add because you know, and you want to use the same plugin, the same instance of Kontakt. Well, you couldn't do that. You have to put in another instance of Kontakt, and then you have 2 instances of Kontakt. But inside of Studio One, that's not a problem. All we have to do here is just go to Kontakt, right? Bring that in, and bam, that is just that simple. It's there, and say, I don't know, I'm trying to pick something that won't pull a lot of resources, but say I want to work from Action Strikes. I can go ahead and pull that in, and okay, by default it's going to be channel 1, right? But if I need to pull in another track from somewhere, I don't know, whatever, you know, like usual, you guys know what's going on, I can go in, and by default the track here, so you can put in 16 inside of Kontakt. by default, what it did was it created channel 2, right? Channel 2 on here. But I want to be able to control channel 2 as a separate MIDI track. You know, all I have to do here is duplicate that track and just change from channel 1 to channel 2, and now I have a separate track that I can work from. So that can be, that's my whatever I select, the marimbas, and then channel 1 will be my drums. So I can go ahead and label that even inside here and call this the marimbas, probably spell that whatever, marimbas, right? And problem solved, right? And then I can also go here and say if we want to go into like routing things out. I've did a couple of videos on this already, guys, so I'm not going to go through that right now, but you can control that right in here and have everything coming out its own lane. Super sweet, super dope, love it. Like I say, it's a bunch of things that I like about Studio One, but I just wanted to point out the 10 things that I find myself using quite frequently, and I think it's pretty dope about why I still use Studio One. All right, my name is Ella from ksound.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am signing out. Remember, music is art. You the artist, paint your picture. Stay creative without rules, guys, and I'm